There we go, that's the lady. So just to say also that Jackie Zender, if you haven't seen the post, Jackie Zender has successfully glazed and fired everybody's work from the workshop at the bridge. And so the only issue is that I don't know who's whose. So I shall bring the whole box load down to the Chambly House workshop on the 27th of July for people to pick up. And even if you can't stay for the whole workshop, feel free to pop in and just collect your things and head off again if you have to. But yeah, that's that. So I think without further ado, I shall pass over to the lovely Julie, and she can explain a bit more about what we're doing tonight.
Thank you, Liz. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining me again. And we've got some more new faces since the colour theory workshop. I'm sorry if it stressed any of you out, the colour theory activities, but I've been loving what you've been posting, so thank you very much. And I think what you've been learning about the colour wheel, or just kind of, revisiting and reminding those of you that have got lots of colour knowledge anyway, I think you will put those skills in place with the activities that we do this evening and throughout the week. So you'll notice that Liz, sorry, Matt's my phone just gone off, and sorry, it's not anything important. So sorry, apologies.
Stick it in the drawer.
I think it was just, what do you call it? A spam. Yeah, sorry, that's just thrown me off a little bit. I thought I had it on silent.
You're all right, don't worry.
So the colour theory that we have, the colour wheel, we'll talk about that when we're choosing our colours. You should have in your new box today some acrylic paints in red, yellow and blue. You should have a brayer, that's your roller. You should have a jelly plate, and you'll need some leaves, some foliage, or if you can't get out and about to collect those, or if you haven't collected those, you could just make some simple paper leaf shapes this evening. And we're going to go through the PowerPoint and the video with all the different instructions. So it's just making sure you've got the bits that you need when we do that kind of hands-on part of the workshop tonight. You might want some sellotape, some masking tape, some tape for hinging your paper, and you'll see why we need that. Pair of scissors are useful, and with your paper, copier paper is great. Recycling old junk mail is great. Old new envelopes. But if you've got copier paper at hand, that's brilliant. You can also use your pages of your journal, but you will go through quite a few pages if you do that. So just be mindful that you don't maybe rattle through the rest of your book this evening, because Gelli Printing is really addictive. And I think what we'll do is we'll give you all a couple of minutes if anybody needs to go and grab anything, and we'll set up the video and you can see the first task. So does anybody need to grab anything else for tonight? I think Linda's just popped up, and Jenny.
Yeah, and if anybody needs to cover themselves up with their mucky pups.
Yeah, maybe just cut the top off of the inliner or anything like that.
Yeah, shall put myself in the bin.
Actually, I might take off my favourite cardie.
Yes, idea, Mark.
Okay, maybe I will change.
Acrylic paint on it. Yeah.
Yeah, true. Okay, I might be a moment.
Right,
my youngest went to Youth Beats and managed to get some spray paint or something all over one of his favourite t-shirts, and it's taken me a few washes this yesterday and this morning to get this green whatever it was off of his shirt.
Oh dear.
He's a mucky pup too.
Was he gutted though? Was it his favourite top? Was it?
Oh no, he was quite excited about the paint. I think he probably encouraged the spraying of such thing. But it wasn't like the usual silly string. I don't know what they'd use. So.
That's funny. Hang on a
I
second.
think it's paint bombs.
Yeah, I think so.
Anything like Eden, they sort of exploded. I saw them from a distance. I wasn't involved, I must admit.
Well,
I
it
was
came
kind
off
of
him pretty
at
easily.
the time, but
It came off him pretty easily after his shower, but yeah, the clothes are just yeah. Well, anyway.
but that'll be a memento
Yeah, I think you're right, Jim.
passage.
Oh, I've just put the wrong video up. You'll have to forgive me 1 sec. So many videos.
So with the colours that we've got, the acrylic paints, we can mix those directly onto the gel plate. And some of you have done some jelly printing with me before, so you'll be familiar that we can actually mix a whole range of colours actually directly on the jelly plate. So if you have any black or white acrylic from the first box too, you can incorporate that this evening as well if you've got all your kit together, but we will just begin with the primary colours.
So I presume we should, mucky person here, put some newspaper down on our work surface.
Yeah, it's just when you hinge the paper, Jill, if you're going to do that at all, because the newspaper's underneath, it kind of slips about. So, but you know, wherever you're working, you know whether you need to kind of cover it up or not. So,
Aye, no, I'd be better just leaving that, the actual workspace.
yeah, because it'll stick better. The gel will stick better straight to the table. Have you managed to find that one, Liz? Liz, you're on mute just now.
Into the group last week during our colour theory workshop. Tonight we're going to be creating some colourful plant prints using your jelly plate that's in your pack and the acrylic paints that you've been given. I think you've got blue, yellow and magenta, which will work out great as your 3 primary colours. And if you have any other colours of acrylics at home, you can use those to vary your colour palette throughout the printing session. I'm just going to go through the different materials that we'll be using, and then we'll be moving on to the yellow paint first. So we've all got a jelly plate. You'll notice mine's still got some layers of paint on it from previous prints that I've been doing. I've also sellotaped it down so I can show you how to make a register to stop it moving. So I've still got the little acetate sheet underneath there, and it's just sellotaped on, or you could use masking tape onto my desk there. There's a roller that we'll be using, our acrylic paints. I've got some white paper, just some copy paper. You can print straight into your journal if you like. You can use coloured paper. You can use the heavyweight tissue paper. And we've got the foliage that we've asked you to collect as well. So it could be petals, flowers, and I've got some ferns here just from the back garden. So I'm going to use these as the leaves are different sizes and shapes. Okay, so we're going to start off making a colour harmony print today. So still referring back to the colour theory. So remember, a colour harmony are the colours that sit next to each other on the colour wheel, and they're pleasing to the eye. So examples of a colour harmony would be hues of violet and blues and purples. They would all sit together on the colour wheel. So we're going to look at mixing some colour harmonies. So we'll be going for either the yellow, and the magenta, or I've got the red here, so the yellow and red to make the warm colours, or you'll start off with the yellow and the blue to make the cold colours, so we make it like a green harmony. So you make that choice first this evening. So start off, first of all, with 3 blobs, small blobs of paint. A bit like 2 eyes and a nose. And then roll this in different directions. It's just a thin layer. Don't worry about the lines that the rollers make. A nice even layer, not too thick. And then you should have a little ledge on your roller. If you turn it over when you're sitting it down, the paint won't stick to your desk. And then if you line up your piece of paper that's the same size as the sheet underneath, and use a little bit of tape to hinge it at the top. So I'm just pressing it down so it makes contact with the jelly plate. And then I use a little bit of masking tape or sellotape. And I make a hinge at the top so I can flip open this paper again and again. And I know that my white paper will be in the same place each time I add a new colour. So now I'm using a flat hand. I'm just rubbing the surface of the paper onto the yellow paints underneath. And I can make out the square of the gel plate there. Peel that back. And that's my first yellow square. I'm going to do the same again. 3 little blobs. With the yellow ink, yellow paint. Taking my second sheet of paper, placing it on top. Letting it make contact with the plate. And then this time, my hinge is going to be on the side, so I can flip this paper in the other direction. It means I can have 2 prints going on at the same time. Peel that off. And there's my second yellow square. So that's my 2 background colours. The next thing I'm going to do is take a little bit of the blue. So this time just 1 blob of the blue. And 2 blobs of the yellow.
So this is where I'm mixing the colours.
Now you could have either blended the colours on a little palette first, or as I'm doing, straight onto your gel plate. Acrylic paints, as you know, dry really quickly, so you've got to work fast with this. And I want to lay the foliage on top. So I'm going for this really large fern, first of all. I'm putting it diagonally across the paper, across the gel plate. And I'm going to flip the first yellow square, which is on my right-hand side, over the top. And as it makes contact, I'm rubbing a flat hand onto the surface. What it's going to do is it's going to lift off the ink or the paint that's around the leaf. So you can use your fingertips to get into all the different shapes. And then I'm going to peel back. And you can see, if I peel that back nice and gentle, I'm left with the outline of the leaf. And on the gel plate, I peel that off, I'm left with the outline and the texture of the leaf. So if you remember, I've got 2 squares, 2 prints that are attached to this board just now. So I can now flip the one from the top onto the textured part of the gel plate. So that's going on top. Pull that off. And you see it's lifting off all the texture and gives me a print positive shape of the leaf. I want to add one more layer now, so I'm going to use blue on its own. I've still got a little bit of green on
I think,
the
Liz, if we maybe pause it just a wee minute, please.
the blue paint. 1, 2, 3. I could have done this with the magenta instead.
There we go.
Yeah, so that's quite a lot of information for anybody that's not done any jelly printing before. So if you are printing at the same time, is anybody printing just now while watching the video, or are you just kind of watching through? Right, that's fine, because I just felt we were, you know, otherwise I was maybe rushing on a little bit. So we'll just get to the end of this. What I'm doing now is going to add another layer and reposition the plants and so on. It's important just for this first task that you have those different coloured backgrounds to work with. So you will need at least 2 squares printed with that single colour before applying the leaves. But any questions, you know, as we're having a go this evening, you know, just let me know or use the chat and I'll get that information where I can help. Thanks, Liz. I'll continue with that now.
Stick with the fern, but just put it on in a different direction this time. And use a couple of the smaller leaves down at the bottom here. So I'm pressing in the textured veiny side of the leaf into the ink. It doesn't really matter which side you use, but you get more of an effective texture on your prints if you do use the more textured vein surface of the leaf. So again, I take the one from the right hand side, flip that on top. So that has the green and the yellow paint on it already, and now it's having that darker bluey teal on top. And I'm working quickly so the paint doesn't dry yet. So that's our negative shapes. And I'll move on to the texture and the positive shape of the leaves. So lifting off, looking for the textures. We've got a positive leaf shape rather than just an outline. And I'm ready to put these leaves onto this sheet at the top. So again, it's registered because I've made that little hinge for the sellotape. Peeling that off. And I'm going to remove it from the sellotape on the board. So you can see the 3 layers. See how we've got a slightly darker green, the lighter grassy green, and the yellow underneath, and it's picked up lots of texture. We compare it with the first print, and that's our negative shapes, and that's much more like a stencil. What was happening was the leaf was blocking out areas and making a stencil shape for us to print from.
Very good.
Okay. So we have a PowerPoint as well. So if everybody's happy to have a go with the first task, and like I said, just start with that lighter color first. So you're starting with the yellow first, and then you can either mix the reds into it to make a color harmony through the oranges, or you can do the same as my example and use the blues to make your greens. So we'll start that for the first part of the activity.
Do you want me to put the PowerPoint up?
Thank you, Liz. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, Phil, by the way. And Heather.
Hello.
So you'll have access to the PowerPoint again this week. So that will just kind of remind you the different stages.
Was it
Right.
2 dots of yellow, Julie? Was it 2 dots of yellow and one of the...
If you're wanting to make green, it's 2 of yellow and 1 of blue. But if you're at the beginning, I did 3 little dots of yellow for the background.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go back one step before that even. So our plates have come with 2 acetates, so 1 on either side. So just peel one of them off.
Yeah. So what I'd
Yeah.
done in the video, I'd actually sellotape just so it wasn't moving, like I was saying
Yeah.
to Jill. You could sellotape one of the, or if you're quite happy with the space that you're working to get paint on,
Yeah.
just peel both sides of acetate off and it'll stick directly to your work surface.
Hmm.
But what I'd done in
Better
the
not.
video, I had a piece of paper and sellotape that down and then sellotape the acetate down.
I think I'll do that. I don't trust myself not to get a mess everywhere. So that's quite cool because a little bit the acetate's slightly larger, so you can kind
Yeah.
of stick that.
Oh, so stick it, yeah.
And the jelly plate just clings then to your
Yes.
kitchen surface or to the acetate or, you know, whatever surface you're using. But I find if I'm using like a plastic tablecloth or something at some of the workshops, it jiggles about because, you know, even when we're hinging that, you're much better with a solid surface underneath. So
Right. But everybody should have a bit of masking tape left from box 1, I think. So that'll do. Right.
and what the hinge does, what the masking tape at the top of your piece of paper that you're printing on, like I did in the video, that allows you to register your print. So whichever layer you put on top, it's always going to be in the same place as the previous layer.
Right.
That's a really easy way of registering.
So that's what register means, just making sure it's the same place each time, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Oh, I haven't left enough. Oh.
So we're doing 2 with the yellow background, is that right? 1 on the side,
Yes.
at the top.
Yes.
Thank
So we're
you.
going to have a positive and a negative.
Oh, right. How's everybody doing with that?
Well, that bit's fine, but then there was about 6 different instructions, so I've got number 1 and 2, but
So I wonder if we maybe pop up the page on the
Yep.
PowerPoint, please, Liz, that actually gives us the step-by-step of task 1.
Mm-hmm. Is that the
Thank
right
you.
one? Yeah.
So here it is here, yeah. I don't know if that's helpful though, Jill. It's maybe a bit too small and
to do, but knowing me, when I think I know what I'm going to do, here it's eggs. I'll get it wrong. Never.
Julie?
So after
whoa,
2 yellow ones, we do 2 yellow blobs and another color blob. I mix them together on the jelly plate. So I'm making orange as it happens.
yeah.
And then
So that's
leaf
for your
on
leaves.
and press one way. And then you take the leaf off and print the other way?
Yes.
Right.
So one will be positive and one will be negative.
Yeah.
Jackie, was that you that had a question as well?
Well, it's probably quite obvious, but I've discovered that you shouldn't really be as messy as me and let any paint go on the background. Of the You know, the paper that's outside your jelly plate, if you see what I mean. If you drop any paint on there by mistake, it comes up
Yeah.
on your print.
Yeah, so if you go outside the jelly plate, yes, it will then press onto the other piece of paper.
I
Yes,
know
that's
that's
correct.
quite obvious, probably, but anyway.
Julie,
It's a good tip.
do you work from the lightest colour to the darkest colour?
For this example, Jenny, we are, because it gives you the easiest kind of option. So
Okay.
we're going light to dark, but that rule doesn't have to apply in your own work throughout the week. You know,
Right,
you can start off with black, and then because it's acrylic, white acrylic will sit on top of black. So it's just for this process, the
Okay.
easiest way is for us to start with a lighter color.
And then it's the next lightest colour and the final one's
Yes.
dark.
Yeah. So on the color wheel, for example, if you've started with yellow, you then got your range of oranges, and then your darkest color would be red.
Right, okay.
And that's your little color harmony. And in my example, I was going through yellows and then shades of green, because even when I made up that kind of tealy blue color, it still appeared green in the video because it was sitting on the yellow.
Okay.
So after the third one, I've got a leaf on and I'm rubbing. I then take the fourth print without re-inking.
Sorry, you've got, so you take off your first paper, yeah?
I've done my 2 yellow squares. I've then
Yes.
inked. I put my green leaf on
Yeah.
and I'm pressed out.
So now you can do your darkest color and repeat the process again.
But I have to then, when I lift this up, I have to take the, what am I talking about? The negative image onto the other yellow one
Yes, yes.
without inking.
Without inking any further. You've got to remember to lift your leaves.
Yes, but I'm just being ditzy. I'm just checking I'm not being completely ditzy.
I think jelly plates are quite a confusing process because it's, yeah, layering it up, so it's easy to get a bit lost, I think.
Oh.
I might just log off because I can't really do much, and I think I'd rather watch it again.
Oh, no worries, Sarah. Are you all right?
Yeah, Moss is fast asleep on me, so
Aw.
it's a little bit
It's
tricky
good.
to do anything.
Hurry to bed.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I might just take him up to bed and
Yeah,
try and
bless
catch
you.
up.
Count to 10, count to 10 and remember that moment. This
Yeah,
moment.
it's very sweet.
Really, remember this moment.
Bless.
Really.
Thank you for coming along, Sarah. I really
you,
appreciate it.
Sorry.
We'll catch up in the group, yeah?
Okay.
Oh,
Sorry,
sleep
sorry,
peacefully.
Julie.
Bye.
Bye.
Sleep
Bye.
peacefully, little moss.
Oh. Is everybody else doing okay?
So when you're doing the second colour, it's what, 2 blobs of yellow and a blob of blue? Is that right?
Yeah, or you could go, you know,
I'm
2
just doing
blobs of blue.
exactly as I'm told this time.
Yeah.
Going off piste before I'm
I've gone
I'm ready.
rogue, I've gone blue. Sorry, I'm sorry.
You're a rebel, Martha.
I know. I'm working, trying to make. Oh no, I'm even going the wrong way. I'm making it lighter. Sorry.
No, that's
You're like
absolutely
a
fine.
cyanotype.
Yes.
So
And
it's
this is-
in. Oh,
sorry.
go on.
I was just going to say the step by step at the moment, the order that we're doing the colors it's not a strict rule. You like Martha's doing, you can play around with those colors. It's just so you get the process and how to do the negative and positive at the moment. For those of that have not done any jelly printing before, it's just trying to make it as straightforward and simple for you. And then once you've kind of got the knack of it, you can play around with metallics, and you can play around with dark to light, and you know, we can just do lots and lots. And you don't have to always have the negative shapes on the negative print. Sometimes you can have a negative space with blue, and then you can put a positive, you know, with a negative shape. There's not any strict rules really.
Right. So once you got your second colour, then you can stick your bits and bobsies on.
Yeah, and remember to put them in a different place, otherwise you're just going to overlap what you've done already.
Yeah, okay. Good thing with not with the sort of no-mow maze and stuff like that. My garden is full of weeds, and I think weeds have got very pretty leaves, haven't they?
I have, yeah.
Got some tiny little feverfew flowers that I like. If you can see them,
Oh, they're
little
pretty.
tiny. Yeah.
Oh, they're lovely.
I'm hoping it's gonna work.
They look like little fried eggs.
Yeah, like tiny, they're like little daisies, but with extra petals.
Oh, hi, I'll phone you back. I'm doing a Zoom class online. I'll phone you back after 8, okay?
Oh, I think I've done my third colour too dark.
Oh,
Everything's dark.
I've done that so many times.
Yeah, it'll be okay.
Oh, I lost the flower.
You think we should go the opposite diagonal to the first one?
Pardon, Jill?
The opposite diagonal to the first one.
You want your leaves in a different place, yeah. How did that look, Jenny?
Can
you hold it up to the screen, or?
Hold on a minute till I hold it up. Right, so can you see that?
Oh,
I like
yeah.
that.
Cool.
That looks great.
This one.
And that's your texture. Can you lift it up just a wee bit up towards your chin a little bit?
Oh, hold on.
Sorry, just hard to see that one. Oh, that looks fab. Yeah, I think the dark colour's absolutely fine.
But the best one, I think this is the nicest one.
Ooh. And that's a lot of blue in that one, yeah?
That's quite a ghost print.
Yeah, yeah.
Really nice contrast on that too.
Yeah.
Not planned.
Yeah, you can't really plan a jelly plate. The more you try and plan it, yeah. It's very spontaneous. Yeah, Danny, if you find it sliding around a bit, it will be too much paint. That is just something that takes a little bit of practice. So, you know, if it's coming out fast, just maybe the paint, just maybe knock it down to 2 splodges rather than the 3.
Right, number 1. I don't know what these are.
Ooh.
Thinking. I've had to improvise because I didn't get out to get any leaves. So what I've been
Oh,
using,
what have you been using, Andre?
I've been using stamps.
Oh, like foam stamps.
They're the jelly ones.
Oh, yeah.
So
Oh,
I
that's a
just
great
grabbed a packet
idea.
of them,
Uh-huh.
and I thought it'd be a bit different.
Yeah, no, that's great. And that's
Oh,
just
that's
lifting it
cool.
fine, is it? Good.
Seems to be, yeah. I think I've probably put a bit too much paint on the jelly plate.
I think I've done the same thing too.
Yeah, it just ends up slipping about, I think.
Yeah.
I did the same, and I just put a clean sheet of paper on top of my over inked thing and got that. Can you see
Yeah,
it?
you can get some lovely
Oh,
textures,
that's
can't you?
nice.
It did just try and take some of the paint off because it was too heavy.
Yeah, so if you feel your roller is a bit clogged up and it's got too much paint on, then just use another piece of your scrap paper and you can kind of roll over fast to kind of lift the paint off of your roller. And that sometimes helps if you feel that you're smearing paint across your plate.
Julie,
Hi, Phil.
I noticed you were using your fingers during the demonstration. Is it best to avoid using another roller to roll on the paper rather than your fingers?
Well, you could use another roller. I feel that if you use your fingertips, you're a bit more aware of where the shape of your leaf is, so you're able to kind of get around the outside. Whereas if you're using the roller, it's a bit more universal if you know the kind of pressure you're putting on. But you'd be welcome to use another brayer if you've got one.
I've never tried the jelly printing yet, so I mean I've done screen printing and I've done oh, what was it now? Vinyl block printing, but never printing. So that's why I was asking.
Yeah. So yeah, it's more. I find it's when you've got different varying depths of leaves and plants or whatever you've chosen as well, it rolls over better if you're using your palm and your fingers really.
Okay, thank you.
Julie, are we to set up again for another 2 or what?
Yeah, so we'll move on to the next page, please, Liz. On the PowerPoint, because we're on to complementary colours then, Jill. But
Yeah,
yes, you can set up your page.
Oh God, I'm really behind. Hold on.
Well, it's no like me to be ahead.
Hi, Julie.
Hi, Jackie.
Do you ever use gloves, or do you just clean your hands after every one? Because what I find is if I don't clean my fingers, I can get fingerprints on my
onto
my sheets.
Yeah, I'm really messy.
And so am I. It's probably just
yeah, I think if if we were going to put these into like, exhibition space or something, you can get, make yourself little paper, like a little paper corner, so you can kind of grab, the edge of your paper that you're trying to lift off.
Yeah.
But I don't use gloves, but it's kind of personal choice really. So
yeah. Well, I mean, you just have to take them off, wouldn't you, before you put.
no, I start off good intentions and then end up in a pickle. I'm definitely a messy printmaker.
Right, so I've learnt that I've been putting too much paint on, and my colours haven't been distinct from each other enough. They've been too close together in tone. So it's frustrating.
But now you know the order. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, Julie. I lost connection there for a few minutes. I don't know if anybody, don't know why. So I don't know whether I've missed anything or not.
No, you've not missed anything.
No, we've not started task 2 yet.
All right.
We were just talking about little difficulties that we might be having, and Okay. So Liz just mentioned about colours maybe being a bit too similar. Yeah. So that's maybe something to think about now that you've got that technique. When it comes to trying this process again, you might be quite dramatic with your colours, so you know there's going to be a definite change. Okay. That links in nicely with task 2 as well, because we're going to go for our complementary colours, which will involve us having to mix. So if anybody's ready for task 2, you're making a choice of your pair of complementary colours. So for example, on the sheet it says red and green. So you print one of the colours with your complementary as your background colour. So you would maybe start off with 2 red squares. And then you clean off your roller, you put your second colour on top of your plate again, and you do your positive and your negative leaves with that complementary colour on top of your red background, or whatever colour you choose.
So would you mix? Oh, sorry, Julie.
Yeah, it's the same process of the layering, but this time we're going to have to mix our complementary.
Would you mix the complementary on the plate?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fine. Oops.
So just repeating the process again. So sort of 2 this of a flat colour.
Yeah. So you know, if you want to go yellow and purple or blue and orange, yeah, choose one of those for your background, and the other you'll be using for your layer with your leaves.
Right.
And again, you might like to start with a lighter colour first. So if you were doing the yellow and purple, try the yellow first as your background and then the purple on top. But it doesn't have to be a steadfast rule. It's just trying to make it simple for you to begin with.
How's everybody doing on the chat, Susie?
It's quiet on the chat. Everyone's focusing.
Good. That's good news.
One word for it.
Right, I'm going to get this right this time. This is one of those techniques that always looks really simple. Like I follow quite a lot of jelly plate artists on Instagram, and they're doing all these fabulous things with like almost like colograph, like putting the stencils and the hot glue and all sorts of stuff. And you're thinking, wow, yeah, amazing, I'll do that. And then I have a go and it's an absolute, realise there's lots of practicing to do.
Magazine.
Yeah, that one, the relief, the.
And they make it so simple looking.
Yeah.
You think, I'll go with that.
I can do that. Yeah.
When you're placing your leaves, can I recommend that you have space around them as well? So when it comes to your negative and your positive shapes, it doesn't just become one big lump in the middle. If you've got one leaf and then a gap and then another leaf and a gap, they will then make separate shapes on your prints. It's easier to read then when you're looking at it.
Yeah, so simpler the better, isn't it, I guess?
I'm a bit confused as to what my second complementary colour is.
So what colour did you start with first, Lorraine?
So I went to red, then green.
So red and green would be your pair for that one. So
right.
you just need the two for that second task. You don't have to have an extra layer, but you could then maybe overlap with blue and orange and have 4 layers. So yeah. So just try another on top and see what happens.
Okay.
Or if you've got your black or white, you could try that as well. Yeah, so it doesn't always have to be 3 layers or 2 layers. Some artists they keep coming back and they add multiple layers on their plate, and other people just do one pull. So they have a white background and then they just do their prints just with one color. So there's lots of different options. One of the examples I put in the inspiration folder on our chat on Facebook, he does a lot of work on the same plate. So he has a few videos called Yeats Makes on YouTube, and he's a college lecturer down south. I think it was Nicola that asked about the honesty print that I shared, the honesty plant, and he's got an actual video for that one that we could have a look through. Once you get the hang of it, you know the world's your oyster really with what you can do. It's such a versatile piece of kit. Is everybody managing to get the prints that have the negative shapes? So that's the kind of area that's masked off. And are you all managing to get the prints with the textures as well, with the veins on the leaves? Is anybody not managing that part yet?
My issue has just been too much paint, so I've got a little bit of the texture, and it's I've been a bit liberal with my paint, so it's kind of just smushed into one thing. But we'll try this now and see how it goes. Been a little bit more careful to have like thin. But that's the thing, is that I pile paint on. Just yeah, that's just my natural urge. with acrylic.
Yeah, but I think with printmaking, it's blobby.
Yeah.
Have you shared an image there, Susie? Let's have a little look.
So after this one, shall we stop share for a minute and see if anybody's willing to hold anything up to the camera?
Yes, that would
Perhaps
be
so we just
great.
because I think just see if how we're learning. See if I think I'm a bit better with this one.
Usually, I've done the purple onto the yellow on both sides, and that's turned out really well. And I don't really want to do much more, I don't think, actually, because they actually work. Are you
Yeah,
going to do a third layer?
you don't have to do a third layer with a complementary. It really was just that kind of color theory, and you can see that contrast really well. So what you could do, Jill, is try it with, you know, purple and orange on a different sheet again if you wanted.
Yes, no, that's fine. If I've actually done something right, I shall stop.
You'll also, as the more that you do, you'll also find colors that really, you know, speak to you. A bit like when we were having a go with the color swatches and so on. You find colors that actually appeal to you for your landscapes and you know, for your pages as moving forward.
Turned out quite
Oh,
well.
yeah, that's lovely. So that's the purple on top of the kind of golden orange, yellow.
It was meant to be yellow, but it was mucky yellow, so yes.
Yeah. Great.
Turned out really well.
You got one as well, Linda? Is that blue and orange?
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
The blue and yellow.
Ah, lovely.
Well done.
And that's the opposite image there.
That's nice.
Yellow just coming
What's the plant, Jill? What plant are you using?
It's that blue. God, don't ask me in a hurry. Oh, thank you. It's like little. They're not daisies. What the hell are they called? I can't remember. Little blue thingies.
Is it Speedwell?
No, bigger than that.
Bugle?
Oh,
Right,
no
so
idea.
I can't see it
stop
just
share
yet, Jill.
for a minute.
You've gone.
Wait, I'll show you. This is the actual. Can you see that? That's the actual plant, but it hasn't got its blue thing on.
Oh, geranium.
Aye.
Ah, yeah, like a hardy geranium.
Hardy geranium. That's what it is.
Yeah.
My screen's gone a bit blank just now with everybody's pictures, so I'll just wait and see if it behaves itself.
I managed to get one with texture. It's not great, but I've got some texture. I wanted to see because it reminded me a bit of Jackie Zender's clay workshop.
Yeah.
You know, and seeing the
similar.
Yeah, the impressions in the
impressions
in the clay.
It's a lovely way of documenting things, isn't it? Cool. Hooray, got one.
Yay.
So once you figure out how much paint to use, what's best for you, and then what colors you like using, you can, you know, print off loads of them, and you know, some of them you'll be like, oh, that didn't work, but actually the next 3, 4, 5 can be just lovely. So it is quite unpredictable, and it is very spontaneous, but I think because it's so quick and once you've got that kind of skill set, it's quite straightforward. You know, once you've practiced it.
Yeah, it's one of those things you get a knack for, I think,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
You got to learn the ways, sort of. And I'm wondering if like having a brand new plate might be a bit, yeah, quite soft and squidgy and all that. But yeah, but it is like making pancakes though, isn't it? I always say that. But yeah,
I must
first
admit,
one's a
before
shocker.
when I've used when I've used a jelly plate before, normally it's with the paint powders and spritzing with water.
All right.
And how have you found that, Andrea?
I find it quite good. I would say it's probably a lot less messy than putting the paint directly onto the jelly plate.
Yeah.
Because you're more sort of controlled with it. You
I've never
still
used
get the mixes, but just say you've not got the brayer to worry about and mucky leaves, so you can do that in a far smaller environment, if you like.
You need quite a lot of elbow room, don't you, for this
Yeah.
kind of process? Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of workspace.
Yeah.
I've not used the paint powders before on it.
Well, quite good fun.
So have you got like a lot of stampers and things that you make cards and that with?
I tend to do sort of personalised clothing and making cards.
Oh, lovely.
So I've got quite a lot of stamps and embossing folders, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I've I've got the heat foam you can get that you can put the embossing folder onto to make a negative.
Yeah.
And then do it that way.
Nice. Yeah, there's a lot of kit you can buy, isn't there?
You'll have to do all these experiments, Andrea, and show us.
Oh, I know. I know. I've been busy lately doing, I had 20 high vests to do over the weekend. So that kept me busy.
Wow.
Have to get a little uniform, Liz, for everybody.
A little outpost uniform. Women at work.
Julie, are there tips for cleaning the rollers and things?
Yeah, so because acrylic paint dries quickly, you want to remove that. You don't want to leave that to go hard. So as I suggested earlier, a piece of scrap copier or an envelope, roll off as much of the paint as you can while you're working. But then when it comes to finishing the session this evening, just some warm soapy water, having either baby wipes or a wet cloth or something with you during your session is always handy as well. But you don't want to leave the roller or the plate damp either when you're working between layers, because it just makes the paint all smeary, or when you put it away, because it's going to make the roller rusty over time, and the plate can get a bit, fusty if it's left. So yeah, just warm soapy water and let things dry properly before you put them away. And always put the acetate back onto the gel plate when you're packing it away. Because if you rest it on something, it will form into that shape and you can end up with a big crease down the middle or bubbles on it. So is everybody at the complementary colours task just now?
Yeah.
Yeah, mine's been a disaster.
Did you go dark first, Jenny?
No, it's the colours. I think I've got too much paint. And I tried to, once I put the third layer on, it's too close to the red. So I'd
did that.
a light green and then orange. And the orange is isn't enough of a contrast.
Yeah.
One of mine worked out like that. It was just a bit of a mess in the end. I like these bits, but
That's a nice background colour, Marge, as well.
yeah, I liked it. Was just white, and then the other was like blue and the sort of dark green. But when I put the red on top, it didn't work it didn't work very well that time. So
yeah, I think finding your colours that you that appeal to you as well, like we were talking about in the colour theory workshop we did. I think that's important. You know, if you can tear a little snips from a magazine that appeals to you, or photographs you've taken from the garden or whatever, if they're pleasing to you in nature or the objects around you, then try a print with them, and you know, I guarantee that the print's going to be pleasing to you as well. So it's just playing around with the colours that suit you.
The other thing that happened was the plate moved. So when I meant to do the second one, it was the register, it was different place.
It was off.
And I've just done the same thing again.
Oh.
Right, I've got taped down the plate now.
Takes a bit of a while to figure out how to get all the paint off the plate as well, doesn't it? Like sometimes feels like it's stuck.
Yeah, so if your acrylic has dried, then just a wet rag or a baby wipe will lift it, and then you can just rub over a piece of copier paper to lift off any extra, and it should keep your plate clean. But it's such a fast activity, you know, you've got to kind of keep up with it really, because the acrylic will just, if you forget about your brayer as well, you know, your roller can be solid, and you've got to go and soak it, and be careful not to scrub at the rubber, because you can end up damaging.
What I've done before doing the leaf and flower prints is, if when you take them off, if you have some spare paper to one side, just pop them on the paper and then put another piece of paper over the top, and you get some really nice fine detailed leaf and flower prints as well to use for other days.
Yeah, just direct from the leaf itself, Susie.
Yeah.
Yeah, because actually you could use your actual roller then over the top of that, couldn't you, to get a bit more pressure, like Phil
and
was
they come out a bit like a stamp or a stencil type thing. They're really good.
Yeah, and
you
if you've
did
got
sorry.
Go on,
Go, Julie. No, I was just going to say to Susie, because she did some lovely ones last year, and one of them ended up on a card, didn't it?
Yeah, the heat printed one,
Yeah,
I done the lino with you, Julie, in one of your workshops, and then put that on top of the jelly print that we'd done in the session. So yeah, it was good.
Yeah, that was a nice way of combining the two. That was lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I was going to say is, you might have some nice leaves and things that are actually painted this evening, and like Susie was suggesting, they're printing from them, but when they're dry as well, you might want to pop them into your journals too. The actual leaf itself, you might have some nice little blue leaves or something you want to save.
It's too late. That's gonna be my best time on.
So if everybody's at a point where we can have a look through the rest of the PowerPoint, because there's some other tasks that we can start this evening, but there are some other activities for through the week. So if that's okay, Liz, we'll just have go through the PowerPoint now, because I'm just noticing the time.
Oh, right, we're all getting carried away.
We're all right. We've still got about 15 minutes. But so task 3 is printing onto different materials. So you've got some different types of paper and some wet strength tissue paper, I think, in your box. But you could also print onto fabric. That obviously can't be washed because you'd be just using the acrylic paints. But once it's dry, you can work in it with embellishments. So your stitching, your buttons, your beads. And if any of you are aware of Karen, who's Karen Old, that's one of the graduates from last year, Karen's actually doing a project at the moment of her own jelly prints that she's printed a lot of fabric, and she's doing a lot of stitching on tops, sharing a lot of these botanical pieces, and they're absolutely lovely what she's doing just now.
Yeah, I'll get her to share a few into the group actually.
Yeah, so that's super. So fabric is an option, tissue paper, which can be then used as collage. One of the ladies that I shared in the inspiration folder, Sally Hurst, she spends a lot of time exploring how to make your paper as translucent as possible, because she likes to build up lots of layers in her mixed media work. So she's suggested using dressmakers paper, you know, the tracing paper for dressmaking, the paper they use for making tea bags, coffee filter paper, and also the Japanese rice paper. And I've been having a little go with this myself, but I've had kind of mixed kind of results just now. Covering the Japanese rice paper with like gel medium. So the gel medium will create this kind of silky layer on top of your paper, and it makes it more translucent. I tried it with a Mod Podge, is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
And I felt it just made the paper hard, and it didn't really make it any more translucent. So I'll need to go back and do a bigger kind of sample with the gel medium, and that's also quite good for changing the translucency of your paint as well. So if you've got gel medium at home, or even different types of additives for your acrylic paints, you know, if it's something that you've got kit for, you can play around with the consistency of the paint. And when you're layering up, if your paint is more translucent, you're obviously going to see more of the leaves from underneath, or whatever you choose to print. So depending on the materials you've got, it can just be, you know, junk envelopes, scraps of wrapping paper, cardboard. Have a little practice on different materials. So that's task 3. And then we'll have a little flick to the next tile, and it's task 4, please, Liz. That's just a couple of examples, I think. Oh, that's where I suggested you keep your paper white. So yeah, task 4. So again, people that have done jelly printing with me before might have come along to the paper stencil workshops that I've done. Quite a lot of my own jelly plates are done with stencils. I don't mean pre-bought shapes, but actual layering up an image a bit like a screen print with drawn and cut out paper shapes. So in the PowerPoint here, there's a reference to Henri Matisse and how he was, towards the end of his life, he did a lot of collage work. And I just love Matisse's cutouts. I think they're fabulous. And I can really see a link with what you do with these stencil prints and his work. So for task 4, suggesting that you cut out and make some stencils, and then you can do some layered work, again referring back to your color wheel, making some choices about your favorite colors, and make some prints that are very much based around shapes and flat color rather than the texture that we've been doing this evening. And if you could flick to the next page, please, Liz. It just explains a little bit more about the positive and the negative shapes that people can get a wee bit confused with. So if you can see that, when you're flicking through this PowerPoint at home yourself.
Sugar, sorry. You
okay?
Yep, I just can't get rid of this toolbar at the bottom. It won't go. Sorry.
Yep. Okay. So this photograph here is one of work that I've done, and I'm just showing you that the shaped holes that you make, that's your negative shapes, and we've talked about that this evening, and the ink will go inside of those holes. So that's like a negative shape, but it's making a positive image. But the hole shapes, as in W, hole, that's a positive stencil, but that will mask an area, that will block an area. So when you're making your cutouts this coming week, think about, do you want positive, negative shapes, and play around with, again, overlapping. So that was just a little bit of an explanation, trying to kind of simplify that, because I know people can find that a little bit tricky when you've just not had the experience of doing that technique. And then that's us on to the next page, I think, then, please, Liz. So just a little bit more information. There's a link there to Henri Matisse, and some examples of people's work. And that's us at the end. So 4 tasks this week, and as many extras that you would like to incorporate. Is there any questions? Because it's quite a lot of information, again, for me to fire at you all. Is there anything that you'd like to ask me about the tasks for this week?
So not at the moment.
I think I'm good. So a lot of it comes with sort of doing card making, and I tend to keep extra positives and negatives.
Yeah.
So I've got a whole drawer full of bits and pieces that I tend to go back to when I'm doing something different.
Yeah. It's always handy to hang on to everything, isn't it?
Well, definitely.
Yeah, never throw anything away. You never know, it might come in handy.
I don't know, Derek might disagree with me on that.
Cool. So it's, as before, it's kind of like have a go at things, perhaps things that you feel a bit resistant towards, and the thing that you really want to have a go at. It's that funny thing, isn't it, of like sometimes you learn a bit more through the, when you push yourself a little bit more, and you don't think you're going to like it, but you do. There's some explore the resistance to something a little bit sometimes.
And ultimately, it all sort of fits into the main jigsaw of the colours.
Lovely.
Yeah, the more you play around with the colours, the more you kind of work out what works well together as well.
Yeah.
You know that acrylic marker that we've got in our new Santa box? Can you use that? Could you use that, or will I mark my thing forever? I don't really know what I'm doing with it, and I know that I'm complicating the exercise, but I just saw it. Just wondered.
Yeah. So is it an acrylic? Is it like a Posca pen kind of idea, Nicola?
It's a type thing, yeah. They're like, yeah.
Yeah. So you know, if you've got the jelly bug by the end of the week, and you're hooked, then there's a guy called Mark Wills and Mark Yeats that I would recommend, you know, looking at what they're doing, because they're trying to push the boundaries with the jelly plate. So, you know, there's loads and loads of videos about the photo transfer, which, as Jill said, is a bit of a hit or a miss, because you need to have a laser print of a very high contrast black and white image for it to work. And you know, some printers just, you know, in new magazines, they just don't seem to create the same effect. But these two guys, they are using like vintage newspapers, they're using Posca pens, they're using spray paint. They're just trying to push the boundaries of the jelly plate. All I would say is take a little bit of advice if you want to try something like drawing with your Posca pens things. Just watch one of their videos first, because they do say it can stain your plate. So if you're a bit precious about your kit, you know, you might just want to do a little trial first on a corner or the back of it, or whatever. You can use both sides of the jelly plate. I've used the Posca pens and they've been okay, but I haven't tended to use the black with it. I have got a couple of my plates where I can't get rid of the pencil lines anymore. I hadn't drawn on it, just the transfer picked up from an actual drawing, and I can't get those out. But you know, it's not affecting my plate at all. But yeah, if you want to kind of try something a little bit different, have a look at, you know, what they're doing. I can put links up to their pages in the chat tonight as well, you know, on the Facebook group, if that's helpful.
Cool.
That was a bit of a long-winded, can I use that pen? Sorry, Nicola.
Yes, you can.
Can you put on the slide the links to these artists that you're recommending, or are they in the notes?
I popped the Mark Yeats guy. I popped him into the inspiration one, but right. I'm thinking if I maybe put their pages where you can watch the videos and stuff, I'll put them into the group chat on Facebook, Jill. I haven't done it yet, but I will.
I was just having a quick Google if you want me to put it in the chat.
Oh, that'd be good, Martha.
Just impatient, sorry.
No, that's cool. So if you want to see images, Julie's been adding photos into the photo album in the Facebook group. So there's 2 albums and it's Artists Inspo, and so if you have a look through there, there's a whole bunch that Julie's been adding before the session. And this guy that we're referring to is one of those.
So I watched one recently where he took an old shirt and inked up the plate, pressed the old shirt onto the jelly plate, and then he did a little bit of lino cutting on top, and that was really effective. This shirt collar with the buttons, really simple, and it's just kind of pushing the boundaries of trying to not make it so craft based, because a lot of the kind of kits and things, it's maybe, you know, towards kind of craft making, and they're trying to just, you know, see how far they can push the medium, really, which, you know, it's got its place, just as the kind of craft side has got its place too.
I think it's grand. Right, so we've got about 5 minutes to spare. So how does anyone feel about having a little hold up to the camera? Just a little one, and or oh, Marge, you're straight in there. That's lovely. Great.
My camera's really slow tonight, so I'm not really seeing everything.
Oh, you might have to. Oh,
if you
Lorraine,
can hold
you've mastered it.
Oh, only that one though.
Looks
The rest
great.
are good.
Get it in a frame. Marge, do you want to share yours again just to show Julie? You might have to hold it there for a moment.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah,
They're
I like
lovely.
that.
Really lovely,
I
aren't
like
they?
it very
They're so
much.
good.
Yeah, so if anybody's happy to share
Ooh,
some photos this evening, that would be
Linda's
really
showing
fab.
hers.
Oh, look at those colours.
It's lovely.
Very dramatic.
Wow.
Cool.
Mhm.
Very
Oh,
good.
cool. That's brilliant.
And they'll all be so different, even though we've all got the same tasks, just like your other pages.
Ooh,
Look
that's
at those lovely
I
colours.
wasn't enjoying my colours, and then I thought, right, I'm going to concentrate on mixing colours a wee bit, and I'm a bit happier because they're more like
your colours.
My
Pretty.
colours. Yeah. So happy now. Better.
Happy.
I didn't really like doing the complementary colors. I think it was just because my color mixing was really not very good. But I did try doing the ghost print on top of the first print. So it was the plant matters coming out on top of the white bit.
Oh,
that's
lovely.
nice.
Yeah, that's
sorry,
really
not
nice.
yeah. I think I just put them all on the same one.
Yeah.
And I thought I quite like that because it has got different tones of color in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's getting the subtle when they're subtle. It's lovely.
Yeah, that's something you can do. So thanks for sharing that, actually, Jackie. Once you've made the kind of holes, with your negative shapes, you can then just go back on that same piece of paper, and it will pick up, like Jackie's done, all the positive kind of textures in the negative holes. So that is another option as well. But as if it's something that you're really interested in, there's so many resources out there to kind of help you, and just give me a shout if anybody has got a question.
Cool. I can't stop now. I've got addicted to it all of a sudden. Yeah.
On a roll. I'll find the list.
On a roll, no pun intended. Yeah,
Don't see mine,
brilliant.
Liz.
Hey?
Don't see mine.
Yes, come on, Trina, come
I
on.
couldn't stop. So I just carried on while you were all talking.
Yeah, just ignore everybody and get on with yours. Great. Move it over a wee bit. Can't quite. Oh,
I
I
can't
love
see.
it. Love it.
Sorry.
Hold up for a wee bit longer so that Julie can see.
I don't know what's happened. I feel like I'm in. Sorry, I'm not. You're frozen on my screen, Trina. Sorry.
Oh, you'll have to. Oh, great. I like that you've used the black paper. That's a cool idea.
I tried the white gouache that was in the box.
I see it now.
It doesn't work.
No, it won't do. You got to keep that gouache a bit as well for
It was worth a try.
It's worth a try, and I admire your creativity for sure.
So then I went for yellow because but I wanted white on the blue really, but never mind.
Yeah, that's great. If you've got any block printing inks, like for lino cutting, anybody, they work. Alcohol inks work as well. You get a very fluid effect. But yeah, the gouache and the watercolors and things, it's just a bit too swirly, a bit too wet, and you need something a bit stickier to adhere to the jelly.
Great. All right then, folks. I think has anybody else got ones to share? Just a couple of minutes to spare. Nicola, you've kept very quiet.
Oh, so yeah. Okay, so here's a wee compliment.
Oh, lovely.
I love the colours.
That's really nice.
So I did mess up a bit the first one.
Oh, lovely.
That's not a mess up, you Nana. That's lovely.
So,
and I actually quite like the complimentary one.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
lovely.
great.
Is that your jelly print? Is that? It looks like a photo.
That one there.
Aye.
It's lovely.
That's beautiful.
Sometimes it's a bit like a Cocteau Twins album artwork. But I'm aspiring to.
That's great.
But yeah, it's a wee mix up, and that's the detail one. There's a lot going on.
I like that though. I like that.
Yeah, it's so addictive. Like basically, this is what I'm going to be doing until bedtime now.
Brilliant. Oh, well, if you guys don't mind taking pictures of the ones that you've shared and stuck them in the group with just a bit of a I did this and then that, because it just really helps to give somebody else an idea of what to try maybe next time, because this is trial and error for sure. That's what I'm getting the sense of. Anyway, guys, that's us at 8 o'clock. So thank you, Julie, for another excellent session.
Thank you for inviting me back.
So much. And thank you guys for getting well stuck in. That's brilliant. And you know, have a go through Julie's activities through the week. She'll be around in the Facebook group to give you some feedback. So yeah, keep sharing the photos. And what was I going to say? Something else. Oh crumbs, I've forgotten. Sorry. But the recording and the slides that Julie's used tonight will all be put into the Facebook group tomorrow. Okay, so keep your eyes peeled for them, and then we'll see you next week. Have a good week.
Everybody, have a great week, everyone.
Take care, guys.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Thanks for coming. Bye, Martha. Thanks for coming. Thanks, guys. Nice to see you. Nice to see you, Marge. Thanks for coming. Bye, Jack. Bye, Andrea. Bye, Heather. Hope you're feeling better, lovey. Bye, Jack. Thanks for coming. Bye, Marge. There we go. Let me just press